Well, here it is. I was wanting to see what a Scrambler roll bar would look like on my TJ pickup. Could have picked any kind of roll bar, but I wanted to keep this thing as Jeepy as possible, and the Scrambler roll bar just seemed to be the optimal choice. It took me a while to find one, actually, but it wasn't quite as easy as a bolt-on as I thought it would be. But that's how it came out. Pretty good. I wasn't sure how it was going to look with the two roll bars together, but I don't hate it. It's not bad. I actually added a harness bar behind the seats just to sort of fill in that big area. I like the tubing off-road look. I mean, you can't tell by looking at it right now, but what I had to do to get it to fit was these tubes right here actually went on this side going that way. When I put it on the truck for testing, it just didn't fit right. These curved bars down here put the roll bar too far back into the bed. I didn't like it, so I cut the tubes off, spun the roll bar around, and welded them on this side, which kicked them legs out there, which isn't bad. And then, of course, on a Scrambler, they start there and they actually go down on land on the bed on the bottom. Well, this LJ body that I used to make the bed has that hump, and I was keeping that hump, so I had to cut the tube down and weld a new plate on there and bolt it in like that. And of course, to complicate matters even worse, this is where my winch is down here. And originally, if you go back and look at other videos, that lid was a lot bigger, went over to the end there, so I had to make a landing pad for the roll bar to sit on. So what I did for that was I took 1/8 inch thick steel and welded it in place there, made landing pads for it, welded nuts on the inside, because once they're in there, there's really no good way to get to it. So that worked out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks kind of cool. The harness bar was another issue. I thought I would buy a standard harness bar for a TJ and that would bolt right in. Well, of course, it wasn't that easy, because I did modify the factory roll bar. I actually straightened it so it's standing straight and up and down, and I moved it back a little. So the harness bar I had to cut in half and take about 3/8 of an inch out of the center and then weld it back together, and then it seemed to fit in there pretty good. So I haven't even taken it outside yet, because I just put a new Dana 44 Rubicon axle on the front, and I got to tighten up everything there, and then I'm going to try to put the front drive shaft in today and then clean everything up. But that's kind of how it looks. I'm sort of happy with it. The seats recline nice. It fits good with the harness bar. So it's not bad. Here's a good look from the front. I'll get it outside either later this afternoon or tomorrow. I also just added a anti-rock sway bar for the front. When I swapped out the axle, I wasn't happy with the factory rusty old crappy looking sway bar, so I added that. So that's not that bad. My messy little garage. There's my Can-Am. I had a little accident, hit a tree during a race. I did a Red Bull mountain scramble race in Pennsylvania and caught a tree and tore up the front end a little bit, so I got parts there. And I still have to put a bumper with a winch on here. I got to pull it off of one of my other TJs and throw it on here. And that's it. It's coming out pretty good. Get it up on the lift. Finish tightening up all the front end bolts. Play with the front drive shaft. See if I got to do any modifications and make that fit. And get it on the road. All right, stay tuned.